Welcome back to the Cozy Cottage Homestead on Thrifty and Frugal Thursday. Today we're going to be talking about pantyhose, knee highs, thigh highs, nylons, whatever you like to call them. I don't wear them very often, but I can sure tell you other ways to use them besides the way that they were designed to be used. In my opinion, it's probably one of the most overlooked prepping items that you could have in your bug out bag, or as we like to say, our get back home bag. And as you can see, 4 pair of knee highs for $1. I'm not sure if you're going to find that today, but since it's something that I keep here on hand, you could see how cheap it was from years ago when it was purchased. Get you a bunch of different sizes and varieties. They're still pretty cheap and inexpensive, and they're extremely lightweight. So let me go ahead and get on with some of my frugal and thrifty ways to use pantyhose. In the kitchen, they are great to use to store potatoes, onions, garlic, apples, pears, hang them, tie a knot, drop one down, tie a knot, drop one down, and you can hang them in your pantry or in a dark closet, and they will stay fresh a whole lot longer. That allows the air to flow through the fruit and keep them from touching each other so that the fruit doesn't rot. Because as we know, one rotten fruit can ruin the whole bunch. And if they're all separated, they'll last a little longer. You can also use them for a way to dry herbs. You can just set the herbs inside of the knee high and hang them outside somewhere, or even in your house or your windowsill, the top of your window, and hang it from a hook and let your herbs dry naturally, and it will keep the dust and any insects and stuff off of them. You can also use it as a cheesecloth. You can use it to clean your sink, like ball one up and use it as a scrubby to clean. It won't scratch your countertops or your porcelain or non-scratch whatever. They aren't as aggressive as a Brillo pad, but they will still do the job. You can use them to cover up bowls for like picnics to keep flies and insects and dust out of your food. It works great to cover up a container. Survival uses. This is a good one. Most of this stuff I just came up with because my brain is just that creative. Of course, you can wear a pair of them to keep warmer. It also helps with preventing blisters, maybe like for wearing a pair of knee highs, men and women. And football players used to do this. I think they still do, but they probably go more towards the tights and leggings. But it will help protect your skin, keep mosquitoes and bugs and spiders from crawling on you. They still probably could bite you through it depending on the thickness of your pantyhose, but it definitely gives you an extra layer of protection. But wearing them under your socks prevents blisters. Say you were in a bug out situation and you had to do a lot of hiking. It would keep your feet and your heels protected from your shoes rubbing a blister on your foot. It's not going to completely prevent it, but it will help give you an extra layer to protect you from that happening. You can use it as a face mask. Yes, you might look like a robber, but if it was dire situations in freezing cold or a dusty desert sandy area, it could keep the sand and dust out of your eyes and keep you from breathing it in your lungs. I think I might have skipped something. Let me see. Other ways to use it for first aid is use it as a tourniquet, use it as a sling, wrap cuts, burns, to hold bandages in place. So basically using it like an ace bandage. You also could use it as a water filter to filter out big stuff in the water. If you were in a survival situation, you could filter the water through it and then boil it, and then maybe use another nylon to filter it again, and do it several times, and then you would have fresh drinking water. You can use it as a net to catch bait to fish. In the wilderness, you could just use a Y-shaped branch with like a 4 to 6 foot handle on it. And then you could skip in creeks and sloughs and rivers, lakes, whatever, and try to find some minnows and small stuff for bait. So you wouldn't have to have any special tools for that. You could just literally stretch it over the Y of the branch or limb and make you a little net. You also can use it as a tool to kill small game in a survival situation. Put a golf ball size rock or whatever size rock you want in the toe of the pantyhose, tie it in a knot, and then you could sit very quietly and very patiently and hope to get a swing and make a kill for a meal. But be careful with that. If you swing and don't hit anything, you could come back and hit your own self in the head. So take some time and practice that one before you actually just think it's going to be easy to do, because you could actually injure yourself. But it could take out a small animal so that you could provide yourself with some food. You also can make a fishing pole from a limb and use the nylon as a string. You can cut it in layers to make it longer or shorter and use it kind of like a cane pole, providing that you had a paper clip or a fish hook in your bug out bag or something creative that you could use for a hook. And using it as a nylon rope, the possibilities are endless. We know what all you can use rope for. Just about anything your brain could think of to be creative with that, but it definitely would help to tie up like limbs and stuff like that to make a teepee for a shelter. Also good for tying up pole beans and vegetables in the garden, which that's pretty much a no-brainer. You could use it for a belt if you did not have a belt or your belt broke. You could also use the panty part or the leg part and tie it around you if you were a woman and you needed a bra, and say your bra broke or you just bugged out so fast you forgot you didn't have one. It would definitely give you some support. So I would suggest having a couple pairs in your bug out bags. Take it out of all the plastic wrap and just put it in there. And we also keep a pair in our vehicle, and I'll get to that one here in a minute. You can use it as a skimmer. You can use a wire clothes hanger to skim out leaves and bugs in your swimming pool. You can also use it in like a water trough for your animals. If you have a larger water trough, to just skim out the big stuff before you actually change the water, which everybody should be changing their water pretty often during the summertime, but during the fall and the winter, sometimes the water is still fresh. It just has some stuff that fell in it. Makes a good little skimmer. And you've all heard of soap on the rope, right? Well, you could put a bar of soap in a knee-high and hang it outside over your water spigot. You'll always have water there to wash your hands. You also can use it to hang inside or in an outdoor shower, so that you'll save your soap and also prevent more falls in the shower, because you won't be bending over looking around for the soap. So that's pretty handy, and it'll last for a pretty good long while. You also can use it to repair small holes in the window screens. Cut you out the patch and sew it over the hole. Keep all the critters out. Definitely use it for lots of different types of crafts, doll faces, book covers, just the endless possibilities with using it as a craft. You can also use it as a sash for mothballs or potpourri to hang in your closet or in your dresser drawers. You can use it as a vent cover for jars when fermenting vegetables. You can also use it as a perfect draft stopper during the wintertime and around your bottom of your doors and your windows. You fill it up with old clothes or some polyfill, tie a knot in each end, stretch it out to make sure it reaches across your windowsill or your door, depending on how large it is. You may need 2 legs. It works really good. just shove it up against the bottom of your door, and then when you open the door, it kind of just rolls out the way. So that works really great. You also, I've heard of people putting cat litter in it to make it a little heavier, but you just use what you got. And if you have plenty access to cat litter, that works fine. But here in the South, it's kind of damp, wet, humid. So I'm thinking that the cat litter would just absorb the moisture when you walk in and out the door, and it would just be more of a mess than the other items would be. They wouldn't be absorbing the moisture right there by the door jambs as much. So I would just use some old clothes or rags and just stuff it in there. You can use it as a bungee strap or a tie strap to tie down small items in the back of a pickup truck or a utility trailer. You could use it for first aid for your pets, like to keep bandages in place. You could also use it as a muzzle for safety. I know that sounds kind of cruel, but it can just go right over most animals' heads, and they can still see and they can still breathe. It's better than you getting bit. For example, have a little Dachshund that will try to eat you up when you trim his toenails. And yes, he has bit me a few times, so sometimes I haven't been able to find the right size muzzle, so that works really well. And there are other times, just whenever your dog needs to be silent, so it works well to silence your dog for safety. Maybe you don't need someone to know that you're home, or just whatever situation is. There are times when your dog needs to learn how to be silent, and some dogs just don't do well with being quiet. So that's a good way to make them at least muzzled. You can use it between your toes to separate your toes whenever you paint your toenails, for the ones that like to do that. You can also use it as a scrunchie for your hair. Another good one that I like is in a bug out situation. You can stuff the legs and the top with leaves and pine straw. So if you were bugging out in a makeshift camp shelter, it would make sleeping a little more comfortable, because you would kind of have like a little mattress. And with aging in mind and having health problems and stuff like that, it's definitely very important for me and a lot of others to be able to get some rest. And yes, when I was younger, I had no problem sleeping directly on the ground on top of a blanket, but now, since different issues and health issues, I know that that's going to be something that I would have to think about, because you're not going to want to carry an air mattress or a big foam mat in your bug out bag. If you had a couple extra pair of pantyhose, you could stuff them with nature and make you a little bed to get you up off the wet, cold ground and the moisture. So I think that's pretty cool. And I think the best one that I saved for last, or the most important one, is we definitely keep a pair of pantyhose in every vehicle that we have. And why would we do that? And it's because you can use pantyhose as a belt if the belt on your vehicle should break, and you're in the middle of nowhere and it's in the middle of the night and nothing's open, everything's closed. If you tie a knot in the end of the pantyhose, cut the legs off, twist it just a little bit, run it around all of your pulleys on your vehicle, tie it as tight as you can get it, and tie a knot. Believe it or not, you will be able to hopefully make it home if you're not too far from home, or at least make it to the next town where you could spend the night until the next day you could get a belt for it. It will get you home safely, or it will get you off the road and out of a more dangerous area so that you can be in a safer area. It's temporarily. Don't run your air conditioner, don't run your defrost, don't run anything extra inside your vehicle. You just want the pulleys to work with the belt that you made from the pantyhose so that you can get yourself to a safer place. It definitely does work. We have actually used other things besides nylons, and it worked to get us home. So, it was just interesting, a lot of the variety of things that you can use nylons for and pantyhose for. It's very lightweight. They're still pretty inexpensive. So I would definitely think that this is probably one of the most overlooked, versatile prep items that you could have in your bug out bag or get home bag, or just in your vehicle for simple purpose if your belt breaks. And there's so many other more things you can use them for and do with it. So this was just a lot of ways that I came up with and that I know works. So I definitely have some, but I don't hardly wear them. but I definitely know how to use them every which way but the right way. And also, for those of you that are new subscribers, don't forget to look at the description of my videos. I do sometimes forget to say things, and then I'll think of it later, and I will add it to the description of the video, so you'll find more information there many times when I forget to say something or add something. And also, y'all know what's better than frugal is free. It's free to like, share, subscribe, and leave a friendly comment if you enjoyed this video and the content. And I think that's about it for our Pantyhose Thrifty and Frugal Thursday video. I hope y'all got some good information out of it, and I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So farewell, homestead family, friends, and neighbors from the Cozy Cottage Homestead.